Hmm? Ah!
You're listening to the Run for Your Lives podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And this is the Run for Your Lives podcast.
This episode we will be talking about the supernatural horror film Hokum, written and directed by Damian McCarthy and released May 1st, 2026. Another newer movie of this year. Very recent.
Very recent, like within the last 2 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this movie gave me so many vibes of other movies, and the interesting thing is, the movies it gave me vibes from were 1408, Secret Window, and The Shining. And all three of those were written by Stephen King.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's just interesting.
I did have a Stephen King vibe as well, because King likes to kind of write himself into things a lot. A lot of his characters are also writers, and so having Bauman being a writer working on trying to finish this novel series, it definitely kind of gave me some Stephen King vibes as well. It felt like a King character. It
did. That's what I took from it. In the beginning especially, but there were other different things that happened throughout that I was drawn back into thinking, oh, this Stephen King, he must have enjoyed it. I didn't look it up to see what he thought of it, but I can see him enjoying this movie. Mm-hmm. Or at the very least, not hating it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really interesting. The whole rabbit vibe, Fiona's costume, and then that weird TV guy named Jack. Mm-hmm. That was so creepy. But then I read a little bit about the film, and Damian McCarthy said that part was kind of inspired by him being afraid of the movie Watership Down. And I'm like, yep, that movie traumatized a generation. Mm-hmm. It really did. As a cartoon. Sure. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, it definitely did. Well, we will kick this off. I mean, we've already kicked it off, but we'll kick this off the way we always do with a few production notes. Was filmed in Skibbereen, Cork, Ireland. How did I know you were going to find some way of making a joke out of that? Of course you were. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Had to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Skibbereen is in Cork in Ireland, and Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. That piece specifically was the desert that we saw the conquistador and the boy. Did you recognize the conquistador?
Immediately. It's Austin Amelia. Yeah.
Yes. From that show, that time.
That thing, that place.
Yeah. Person. That was good for a bit. Mm-hmm. And then something about a tin can and some string that just sent it down a road that changed it forever. This is the third feature film from Irish filmmaker Damian McCarthy, who is known for his focus on atmospheric supernatural horror films with a folk-inspired twist. Budget was $5 million. It grossed $24.1 million at the box office. Was 107 minutes long. Pake, give us a synopsis.
Yes. A horror writer visits an Irish inn to scatter his parents' ashes, unaware that the property is said to be haunted by a witch.
Ooh. Oh, man. Yes. the witch was creepy. However, Jack the rabbit, bug-eyed children's TV host.
He was Jack the jackass, so he was supposed to be a donkey, but then also there was rabbit stuff. I don't know.
He looked like a rabbit to me. Yep. And honestly, I thought he was terrifying and reminded me of the shock value of the lipstick face demon in Insidious.
Yeah. Speaking of lipstick face demon, did you catch Joseph Bashara was the music producer for this movie. He did the music for this movie.
He did!
He did.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of him. Which, you know what, Pake? Next week, we're going back to Insidious. It's been a while.
Sounds
we're
good
going
to me.
back to Insidious. We need to continue down that road of covering the Insidious films.
We need to go back behind that red door and see what else they got for us.
Exactly. We'll tiptoe through the tulips.
Yeah, so it's funny that you mentioned that because I have it in my notes. I noticed it when the movie ended, when the credits were rolling, and I was doing some stuff on my phone. I just happened to look up and be like, yeah, it was like music by Joseph Bashara, and I was like, oh that's fun. That's
fun. A name we know here on this podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like for this one, there really was one main character, a bunch of side characters. All of my notes are really under Om.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't even text you to ask this time. I just said the movie ended, and I went, I'm leaving my notes where they're at. This is another one of those.
Yeah, I feel like you have to. You have to. That's just how it works. Adam Scott on my TV is always a good thing.
Yes.
Although I want to say that his character in this movie was such a dick. That I did not relate to him at first. All I could think is, you are something.
Yeah.
You are definitely not nice. He's just grumpy and mean and kind of like a bully. Like, he's just not a nice person.
Ohm had this air of like, which he was like going through a lot of shit and was like very deeply depressed and person, but also that like he took it out on people in like a way of like, even that is like, I'm an artist and I'm better than you. And yeah, it's an interesting character for him to play because yes, I love Adam Scott. Anytime he's on my screen, the same as you said, is like I'm happy with that. I mean, we know him, Mark from Severance, which is an incredible show that everyone should be watching.
Absolutely.
But of course, long before that, I was enamored with him as the lovable, nerdy Ben Wyatt from Parks and Recreation.
Yes.
And I'm sure we've discussed all this before because this is not Adam Scott's first Run for Your Lives appearance. Because he also starred in the movie Little Evil that we covered several seasons ago.
He did. And he made a very brief appearance in The Monkey. So, yeah, this is definitely not his first appearance. And I came very late to the Parks and Rec train. I didn't watch it in full until about 2 years ago. And now I completely appreciate all the amazingness that is that show.
Yes.
Just so fun. But yeah, Ohm was not Ben. Was
not at all.
Not like his Severance character either. Just mean. Just a mean guy. But at the beginning of the movie, when we first see this desert, all I could think is, am I watching the wrong movie? Did I screw up and buy something else? Or I didn't really buy it. I'll take this part out, but you know what I mean. Am I watching the wrong movie? Because this is not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah. When you look at just like the synopsis and you're like, okay, a writer goes to this kind of remote place in Ireland, to this little hotel, and then the movie starts and you're like, well, there's Austin Emilio in a desert he's a conquistador traveling with a young boy. All right. How does this?
Yeah.
Ireland sure looks different.
It really does. Very sandy. I mean, there must be a part that has sand in Ireland. Derek, can you tell us? I mean, there must be a little sand, maybe not to that level, of course, but when he's writing and it seems like it's going to be a death scene, it made me start to wonder, what is it like to be a writer who creates these characters in these worlds, and then in some cases you kill them off? Like, how hard that must be to do.
I don't know. Yeah. I like when you figured out earlier, I feel like, oh, these are the characters in the book that he is working on. And it's an intense story. I don't know. This is like the last book in a series. We keep getting people talking about like, oh, you're finishing the Conquistador series. You're finishing that story. What's that going to be like? And so there must have been all kinds of adventures between this Conquistador and this boy that have led up to this moment. But
yeah,
I was like, man, it's a pretty intense story. Because like just me watching, knowing it's not even the movie that I'm watching, as far as it's a story within the story that's just fictional in his head. But like the immediate panic I felt when I realized what he was thinking of doing with the bottle, like, because he's like hitting against his head, and then he looked back at the boy, like he hadn't even typed the like words on the screen. It was still in this scene, and I was like, no, what are you doing?
No, don't do that. I'm not down with that. This is not okay.
I was like that, and I was like watching him with that, and I was like, that's some thick glass. It's not even gonna work. You're just gonna murder this kid for nothing. And so it's funny whenever he's talking to Fiona later and he like tells the ending of the movie, or the ending of this book, where he's like, yeah, and then he does that and like it doesn't even work. He still doesn't break the bottle, and then he dies alone in the desert. And I was like, what did I say earlier? I was like, I didn't think that was gonna work. Kid's skull is too soft. Just very missed ending. Just kill the kid for no reason.
I think, though, after watching the whole movie, that bottle is like a metaphor for his grief and how impenetrable it has been for him. He has never forgiven himself for what was an accident. Granted, he was doing something he should not have been doing. I didn't put the pieces together until they basically said exactly what happened.
It crossed my mind because again, when he's talking to Fiona and he's talking about his mom and oh yeah, she got shot in the face when she walked back into the door. And so when he said that, I was like, well, it must have been a family member because who else is at the house when she comes home from shopping, you know? And then when he said, and he was like, well, did they catch the guy that did it? It's like, oh, he was too young to be charged with anything. I did have that thought. But then I was like, but that's a weird way to put it. Like, why wouldn't he? But then, of course, he's kind of suppressing and covering the darkest part of that story. So then when the reveal is like really shown later, I was like, shit, so that is what happened. I wondered if that was what happened, but then I kind of like stowed it away in the back of my head. So I was like, nope, this is exactly what happened. Damn.
Yeah, and I think the ghost of his mom was always around. Like, you could see it at different points. Like, she was there. And to me, that just represented how he has just always carried this regret and grief and devastation over what happened. And him being the cause. And admitting his dad never forgave him for it. He became a mean, horrible man to him.
Yeah. Because
of what happened. And I think that shapes a lot of the character we see in this movie because he's deeply, deeply troubled by something he has never dealt with. And that glass bottle and not being able to break it, to me, it just really represents the fact that he either can't get in touch with those feelings to be able to forgive himself, or again, he's bottled up. I mean, everything. So
yeah, it kind of is, the author, the writer putting their own thing in there, even if it's subconscious. Is his original ending is killing the innocence that's left in him, and it's still not accomplishing anything, and still dying alone and full of grief and pain, that nothing changed, and he did not get what he was looking for. No.
I wondered at first why he went to the end, and then I understood it. He went there because he wanted to scatter the ashes of his mother and father.
Mm-hmm.
Which also made me think different communities have different rules around scattering ashes. Like, you're not just allowed to go scatter ashes wherever you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a friend who wanted to be scattered in Lake Placid, New York, and you had to get permission from the town. You could only do it in certain places. It was just very different. You can't just decide to go scatter your ashes somewhere. You have to look into it because there are requirements around it. I never realized that, but yeah.
So wherever he was kind of riding at first, kind of looks like maybe just his house or wherever. Kind of a creepy little spot, but he's seeing... Because at first it kind of looked like a little girl or something, but then it was like, well, it's the yellow jacket that she was wearing in that picture. So it's just kind of like different forms. Yeah, you said like the mother kind of following her around. But I was like, we're less than 10 minutes in. We're already getting ghosts. So that's good. Like, we're straight to some creepy. Like, let's go. But you see, like, as the movie progresses, you talk about like the ghost of his mother that's always around him. It's creepy. The way she'll pop up and show up and some of the sounds. But then, yeah, you eventually come to realize, like, it's not a, like, malevolent force. That she's there kind of as protection. And then eventually they have that moment at the end where there's that reconciliation. And so I thought that was really cool that, like, there's the ghosts that are around him. And there's, like, the good ghosts that are actually there to, like, help him or, like, try to, for closure. And then, of course, there are the malevolent spirits. And, yeah, Jack... the jackass or whatever, on the TV, which is just like playing off of the guilt, reading the letter from him that was all, just in his mind or whatever. But it is kind of this haunting thing. Which, so you mentioned, or we mentioned Stephen King. I also got a big vibe during a lot of these things. Like, this is also very Flanagan-esque.
Yeah.
In the method of personal ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Your guilt, your pain, your fears being made reality in a scary way around you.
It's like they're another character in the story. They're manifesting. It's like the visual manifestation of a very deep personal feeling.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. Flanagan, absolutely. This would be very
also,
much
what was
like him.
Interesting about that character of Jack, which I wondered if it would meant something more to the story, but as far as I could tell, really no. But who played Jack was portrayed by Will O'Connell, who was the same actor who played Albie, the bellhop, and later the guy that was working at the ice cream shop.
Oh my gosh.
So the fact that it was him, also, I was like, does that mean something? And I don't know, other than it's just this other kind of personal guilt, maybe very subconscious of the way he treated him and like as a stand-in for the way he treats all people like that look up to him. Yeah, it was just very... Thought that like, the casting choice of having that actor play that role and be both in the movie had to mean something.
Yeah. I wondered too, the way that Ohm talks to Fiona about his mother dying and his family, it made me wonder if it's not public knowledge that he caused his mother's death. Because it seems like it might have been that he might have been received differently as a writer if they knew that he had done that, even as a child.
And I assume there's like laws and stuff with that like because he was a minor at the time that like they can't talk, it's not a public case in that way that he can't even be really tried in public opinion as an adult. It's just like it's got to kind of stay behind closed doors.
Yeah. So he was very careful how he talked about it. He didn't come out and say, well, I accidentally killed my... Because how would you ever say that?
Yeah.
But he said it, or rather it was part of the letter that Jack read.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack reacts to. It's basically, that letter is Ohm's way of explaining or saying out loud or having Jack say out loud exactly what happened and what he's been feeling.
Yeah.
Because obviously he never really got to talk about it with his dad because his dad, they did not really have a relationship after that because of what happened.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, according to his ash spreading techniques, because at first I was like, well, I think it's safe to say he was closer to his mom.
Absolutely.
But then it was like, well, she died when he was very young in this tragic way, and then even realizing more, so it was kind of his dad who raised him, and then it sounds like, yeah, he wasn't the most pleasant person to be around, and we know why. But like, I immediately picked up on that because he, like, with his mother's, he's very careful to, like, put it in the right spots and, like, and then he looks at his dad's and he opens it and just dumps it, like, whatever.
Yep.
Just could not care less at all. And so I was like, there's some thought, like, there's some meaning in there, right? Just that act. I was like, he said so much about his relationship with his father in that 2 seconds it took to just dump the ashes out on the ground and not care.
Yeah, I would encourage him to get a good therapist, and that would be the next thing that I might address is the anger towards his father, which he has every right to be angry with his dad. But without his dad there to really get closure and talk to each other about it and work through it, it's going to be really hard to, like, put all of that behind him. But he needs to talk about those feelings because obviously the grief and his mom and all of that was, like, top of mind, but there's probably more underneath that needs to come up. I'm not a therapist, but I think that there's probably more there that he's going to need to talk through. I did like the idea that he wanted to take his mom's ashes back to a place where she had joy.
Yeah.
Because I think that is a really profound and lovely thing to do.
Mm-hmm. I did notice, because they kind of focused on the urns even before he left for Ireland. And I was like, how do I feel about this? It was like his and hers urns. The way that, mom, dad. I'm like, it's kind of nice, but also it's like too nonchalant. I don't know. Like, it's just like, it feels like... like the decorative towels. It's like, oh, you get your own little monogrammed urns for you. It's like, yeah, I mean, because a lot with urns, you put somebody's name and stuff on them for it to be like in its own little like case. It's like mom and dad. It's like, I don't know.
It's like the Mr. and Mrs. Coffee mugs that you put in your cupboard. Yeah. I thought that was just kind of strange.
That reminded me of my grandparents, because my grandmother never drank coffee. She was not a coffee person. My grandpa, on the other hand, like, I got from him, that gene has been passed down to me. It's like just black coffee, straight, as strong as you can take it, constantly, all day. And so it reminded me of just like growing up and stuff, because they had 2 coffee pots, 2 machines in the house. But my grandmother would have hers that she would only put like the loose leaf tea, and then she would brew it like coffee.
Okay.
Through the filter and stuff. But so they had the Mr. Coffee, and it was both Mr. Coffee brand. And so she had taken a label and covered up the coffee part and added an S. So the label she put on it, so his was Mr. Coffee and hers was Mrs. T. And I love
I love that.
Yeah.
That's adorable. It's interesting that you take your coffee like black. That's how my dad took it as well, and my grandfather. Like, they were all in on the black, strong, no nonsense coffee. Yep. And my brother, same thing. It's just, I think it is something that's just passed down.
Yeah.
Generation to generation. So my nieces aren't drinking it that way yet. They're not really drinking coffee. They will get Starbucks, but it's usually a Frappuccino.
Yeah.
Not any of the coffee stuff. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I do love tea, so I'd be all in on the loose leaf tea thing. I'm all in on that. I think it'd be great.
Yeah. So yeah, as we talk about, this Bilberry Woods Hotel in Ireland. Again, apparently it meant something to his mom, so that's where he winds up. And already off to a rough start immediately. Like, dead goat, kind of creepy owner who's telling inappropriate, scary stories to these children. And then Ohm's not making it any better because he himself he's just not very nice.
He's abrasive, okay?
He very much is. He's like, I mean, the owner shouldn't be telling these young children, and the witch is going to take your balls. Like, it's a little weird. But, like...
Exactly.
And then he's like, are those your kids? Are you related to you? Grandkids or anything? He's like, nope. They're just random kids of some, like, people who are visiting in the hotel. It's like, leave them alone, please. Like, he's very much like, go find your parents. Stay away from stranger.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. When he said that to him, he said there's worse things out there than strangers. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I'm sure. But right now, you're the main threat here with your stories.
Right now, you are a stranger who's being weird with these children and they should go away. So at least he's looking out for them. That's good. But then you see him talking with Mal. And, like, that's where you really see, like, how he's just, like, it's like, oh, it's going to be a crack. And he's like, well, then keep me far away from it. And you can tell he's just like, I don't want anything to do with people. Nobody talk to me. Nobody come near me. And then when he realizes what he is, or who he is, that's the line that really got me. He's like, oh, maybe I could bring in my son's book for you to sign. And he just goes, nah, and walks off. And you're like, oh, okay, he's a douchebag. Got it.
Completely. He's just not personable. I feel like in some ways he's just over it. He's dealt with it enough and he doesn't want to deal with it anymore. But in other ways, he's just being mean because he can.
Mm-hmm.
And that just is not okay. If someone's like that, usually there's something underneath. And this is what I try, like, to say to myself if someone's being rude, is that there's got to be something underneath it that's making him that way.
Yeah.
It's too bad. They probably need to talk to someone and get that out and let go of it.
Yeah. And we see Ohm's got a lot of that underneath that he's dealing with, which is, you know, it's really sad that Fiona ends up dead pretty early on in this movie because I really liked her when we first meet her because she's the only one that's just going to call him on his crap immediately. She meets him in the hallway. He's looking around. She goes, are you lost? And he was just like, well, what does it look like? And she goes, well, with that attitude, you're going to stay lost, and just starts to walk off. And it's like, yeah.
I loved her. Oh, she was great. I thought she was fantastic. I wish we had been able to see more of her because I like the energy that she brought to the character. The actress, it was fun.
Yeah. And as he's looking for his room, of course, we get, like, Mr. Cobb and Virgil at the little elevator to the honeymoon suite talking about, like, well, nothing's going to get through that. And I was like, well, that's not super ominous at all.
Nope.
That's not going to come back to be the main thing in the movie.
Nope. Not now it isn't, but let's wait. Hold my beer. We're going to see it later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mentioned, him going out spraying the ashes, and that's where he meets Jerry.
Loved Jerry.
Jerry is very interesting.
So fun.
With his goats and his hallucinogenic milk.
So he watched him spread the ashes. And he offers him the milk first because he can tell that Ohm really needs something to take the edge off after what he had to do. And Ohm wants something stronger, and so he gives him a flask. And then explains his special milk. He's got, honestly, I think his processing for the mushrooms is probably better than what Misty did on Yellow Jackets. That just ended up in the soup. However, I think that given what we see later with the powerful impact of those mushrooms, Ohm needs to stay far away from that.
Yeah.
Stick to the whiskey, unspiked whiskey.
I thought that was interesting, the fact that, we'll jump all over the place, which is fine, as at the end with Albie admitting that he drugged Ohm because he was an asshole. But honestly, and he was like, so it might be my fault. And I was like, some of it maybe, but then also I was like, you also kind of maybe helped save him.
Mm-hmm.
Because as Jerry tells him, it's just like, oh, these things are real. But you just, if you don't believe in them, if you're a skeptic, somebody like Ohm isn't going to see them. But if you open your mind, people who open their mind can. So the fact that he was tripping this whole time helped him see. So it was like, he could then see the threats and the things that are there trying to help him that were there. So maybe it would have been worse for him if he would have been sober.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. He does remember things that he learned from Fiona earlier on where they're talking about making a circle, being in the middle of a circle. For some reason, I thought salt is something that you would do versus
That's for
chalk.
demons.
That's right, yes. Make a circle. Get in it. Stay there.
Some kind of white circle. The substance used, I guess, depends on what you're trying to be protected from. I don't.
Witches, it can be chalk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he can see that it does work because it works when he's in the bed and he just puts the circle around and then the witch goes away. But I thought, honestly, no, I don't want to skip to the end, but I'm already thinking about the end and the whole thing with Mal. But there's so much more story before that. He has that time getting drunk with, basically, he's getting drunk at the bar. Fiona is serving him. He's mean to Albie. And he goes back to his room. I did not expect that Fiona was going to go to the room. She had this feeling she needed to check on him and find him hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Did you get the vibe that was the direction he was going to go in?
Not expected. It was definitely a dark turn. Like, it makes sense. I mean, the way you see him just constantly dreaming. Yeah, drinking. And yeah, all of it, I mean, he's talking about, he's somewhat even like, he's talking with people. Why is he socializing? Yeah. But yeah, talking about the witch in the honeymoon suite, and of course he's like, well, I don't believe any of that. That's where the if Steve was here, the title of the movie, Mic Drop, is they explain everything, and Albie even tells him the story like of him encountering the witch, and then his only response is Hokum, And then, yeah, I mean, he treats Albie like absolute shit, and I never meet your heroes. I wrote that down in my notes before Ohm even said it himself, and I thought that was funny. And I was like, you got to have thicker skin than that if you're going to be a writer. I was like, well, that's just something you say to make it a tough love situation instead of what it really was, which is just assault.
Yeah, I wondered what he was doing when he's heating up the spoon. I'm like, you're not going to use that on him. What exactly are you doing? And then he does.
Yeah. So like seeing where he just doesn't care. So like there are the like little clues that build up where like he's treating people like absolute shit, where it's like more than he probably usually does because he did. And then of course the line that really kind of in retrospect, because he goes, I'll take one more, and then Mal is like, and that's going to be his last one. And then so he picks up the drink and he goes, to bleak endings, and then like takes the drink. And so I was like, yeah, that's
yeah, I thought
he did what he came here to do, and then he's done.
I thought he was just referring to the ending of his book because the way that he planned to end it. And I was thinking, okay, he ended his book that way. It was really depressing. And then, yeah, I guess it does make sense. He went up and was attempting to take his own life, except Fiona has this vibe that something's off. And
well, he left his tape recorder and his book and stuff down at the bar as well, so she wanted to return that to him, and then with him not responding, not opening the door, she's like, this guy's a cranky asshole, like he should come at the door yelling at me for knocking in the middle of the night, so something's wrong.
Yep. And it was. And so somehow they get there in time and he wakes up in the hospital. But not before he has this very weird black and white. There's like this black and white montage of him in the elevator. It just, I'm like, is he dead now? I don't know. I wasn't sure what that was supposed to be.
Yeah. It's kind of the veil between.
Yeah.
But yeah, they luckily did find him in time to where, he comes back, and then he goes back to the hotel to kind of gather his things and comes back to some crazy information, learning Fiona's missing, and the main suspect at that point is Goat Milk Jerry, but he's also missing. The way that he kind of did go for a little bit 10 years ago when his wife mysteriously died. So there's all this like little mystery. So like Ohm's concerned because Fiona saved his life, and that means something to him. And he is concerned for her.
And it's also been a block of time, too, that he has been in the hospital, because when he gets there, it's after Halloween, and they're closing up for the season.
Yeah.
Which is something that hotels like that do when because in the wintertime or late fall, winter, the peak season is over, and so there just aren't as many people visiting, so they will close down and reopen maybe in April. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, he goes back and finds out all of these things.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's told just to go back home, you've been through enough or whatever. But it kind of becomes like a mystery movie and a little bit, a murder mystery kind of thing for just a minute, where he doesn't want to let that go. And then, like, they did a good job of making everybody seem a little suspect. Mm-hmm. Like, the way they talk about Jerry, you're like, okay, that makes sense. Like, maybe something's up with that. But then even Fergal, Fergal's a great red herring, because we've already seen he killed the goat, and he just seems to be kind of a very aggressive person in his own mind. He's a little sus. So then when Ohm is like, well, have we checked did you check the honeymoon suite? And where he's like, no, it stayed locked, so there's no point in going in there. It's like, well, then why, you should check anything, because she said that she wanted to go in there. So there's your reason to at least check. And he's like, nope, don't need to check it. And then, like, the whole thing is like, well, what about the cops? And he's like, well, they're all of my family members. And it's like, okay, so this guy is like, has this protection and he can get away with stuff. And then he's just kind of like, he loves making threats. He even says, if Jerry comes back here, then that'll be the last mistake he kind of makes. And then even when he gets the vibe that Ohm is not accusing him, but like has the, like, thinking that he might be involved, he's like, you should go now before, go to the airport now while they can still recognize the face on your passport. And it's like, when he's making threats like that, you're like, okay, we're painting this guy in a light that he could have been the guy that did this.
Yeah, absolutely. And this thing that Jerry says later, when he says it later, it just makes me think back to different points in the movie. Fiona had told him to never ignore when something feels off. And so her noticing that Ohm isn't jumping up to say, why the hell are you banging on my door in the middle of the night, when they're bringing the stuff back to him. It's one of those things where you've got to think about that. Like, you've got to realize when something is staring in the face, sometimes you have to look at things that might not be possible or that you think aren't probable to just check it off a list.
Yeah. For Ohm, it like almost seems like some kind of obligation that he finds himself in. He's like, I just want to make sure things are right. And like, she's found to where he doesn't just go home. Like, even when he leaves there, he goes to like check out Jerry's van and then finds Jerry, which then having that conversation with him is like, oh, you did kill your wife. But then he says, like, he admits to doing that, but he's like, but it was out of mercy. She was in a lot of pain and it was the right thing to do. And then he's like, me and Fiona are good friends, and I didn't kill her or take her, but I saw her ghost, and so I do know that she's dead. And it's, and her ghost is saying she's in the honeymoon suite. And so there's like these things that Ohm's already thinking about. And I mean, he still doesn't believe in all the ghosts and all of that stuff, but at this point, there's like this little level of obligation that like Jerry has Cobb's keys, and he's like, he convinces him to go back to the hotel at night. And he's like, you know what? Just for my own peace of mind, so I can check that box and make sure that I've done everything I could.
Exactly. And so they do. They go back. Jerry thinks he needs a crossbow, which gets him in trouble because Fergal finds him and drags him off to the pokey. Except when Jerry wakes up, he's not very pleased. And he ends up in pretty bad shape. Later on. Yeah. From his escape from Fergal's drive down to town.
Yeah. But as that happens, so Ohm is just on his own solo mission now that Jerry was gone, so the honeymoon suite bell beckons.
The ringing of bells. I don't want to hear that again, because I feel like now, right at this moment, it has just this ominous meaning. Yeah, I'm definitely like triggered by that right now. And when they go in, the honeymoon suite it's not beautiful.
It's been locked up for years and years.
Yeah. And the attached bathroom is disgusting. Like, it's just gross. So gross. You would have thought they would have drained the tub or I don't know. I mean, you expect cobwebs and things, but it just looks like they just locked it up and didn't even think about anything. I'm surprised that it wasn't worse than that.
Yeah, they're just like, nope. But he goes in, he looks around, doesn't find anything, and so instead of just leaving, he just gets drunk and passes out there on the bed. And and then again, we get the full picture of what happened to his mom and what he did, and that's what we see, because we get these little like flashes of like the arm on him, or like somebody kind of, and it seems like it's like a scary thing at first, but then you realize like when it happened, like her last action was kind of stumbling over to him and then hugging him, almost in this place of like forgiveness and love. And I was like, well, no wonder he's so fucked up. But that see that.
Yeah, I get the impression he was close to his mom even before this happened. Like, I think they were very close. Mm-hmm. And of course it's going to weigh on him. Of course he's going to be depressed and traumatized about it. I think, again, it was that showing his mom reaching out to him in that moment is, to me, also a metaphor for how he is disconnected, and that was him reconnecting with feelings and things again. Mm-hmm. I just feel like he has never allowed himself to live in that place very long or long enough to process through the feelings and grief, because it's not just grief over the loss of his mom, it's the realization and acceptance that you were a part of it or the reason why she died. Mm-hmm. That makes it even worse for him.
Yeah. And just dealing with that, again, he passes out, and then the next morning, Mal is there waking him up. And that's where, because I was like, it was a good red herring with Fergal, because then when he starts talking with Mal, that's where you're like, wait a minute, because he's too defensive. He's like, okay, well, let's get out of here. Like, he's just trying to brush it under the rug, like almost like, well, he didn't find the things that he could have found in here, so let's just go. Trying to get him out.
Don't touch anything.
What about the basement? Oh, there's no way down there. It's locked off. Nobody's ever seen. Just go. It's like as watching it, you're like, he's definitely hiding something. He's. Mm-hmm. It's literally the like, don't look over there. It's nothing. Let's just go this way. And he gets those vibes too, and pushes the button, looks where he needs to go in. Found Fiona before she even comes up in the dumbwaiter. The second he hits the button, Mal was like, like he knows she's there. He put her there. So then he runs out immediately, locks Ohm into the suite, and he's like, well, I guess I gotta kill somebody else now.
Yep. It just got worse and worse for Mal, because he made the first decision to lock Fiona up and leave her there because he knew that she couldn't get out of the basement when she woke up. He basically drugged her with tea and put her in the dumbwaiter, and it took her to the basement, and she had no escape because everything down there is boarded up.
Yeah.
There's just no way to get out. And this was another decision. I've got to kill him. And he probably was figuring out how he could do it, maybe to look like he took his own life, because he had tried before.
Yeah. Well, they're closing up for the season now, so nobody's going to be there. So just, again, leave him in the room long enough, and he's got no way out. What are you going to do?
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, she had Ohm's tape recorder with her. Fiona did when she went down, so then he can kind of use that to piece some things together, including the information that, knowing that it was Mal because she says so. So now there's evidence, because she was pregnant with Mal's child, and he is married to the daughter of Mr. Cobb, the owner of the hotel. So in order to preserve himself and then just get rid of and silence her, she went missing. What happened? Like, he kills her and her unborn child out of fear that because he was unfaithful to his wife. And so, yeah.
It's his own fault
Terrible
what
person.
he did, and she paid the ultimate price for it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, I don't know that he counted on the love that people had for Fiona, that people actually cared about her. Like, Jerry cared about her. Fergal, I mean, they cared about her. And so they were still looking for her, even though they really had no idea where she had gone. They were still looking. That's why they were up in that suite in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, like, locked up in that suite. Then there's some just great, like, ghost movie kind of stuff. Horror, the things get real creepy for a little bit. At first, his mother hanging around him and just, like, popping up in places before you realize, that it's okay that she's there. It's still, like, scary. And then all the unsettling sounds coming from the halls and through the intercom, the clock, the TV, reflections. Oh, my. All the things.
That so reminded me of Mike Flanagan and how many times you're watching his shows and spotting ghosts in the background. Like, I haven't done that in ages. I feel like he hasn't had anything out for me to watch that had a lot of that in a while. So
I don't know if he'll ever return to any haunting things. I don't know.
He's got a lot of great projects in the works, though. So,
but I love seeing how brilliant, like fucking brilliant, Ohm really is. Honestly, lining up the clock with the boy swinging the mallet on the clock, and giving himself a way back up from the basement through in the dumbwaiter, so he can go down and investigate and try to put pieces together, see if there's a way out, see what he can find. That was that's really brilliant. I was like, oh, wow.
But I also got really worried when he got back in the dumbwaiter and it didn't bring him back up, because I don't know what happened. The timing was off, even though he had it lined up.
Yeah, I like that it focuses on the face of the little boy that's part of the clock thing.
Yeah.
He has that face like, ooh, like, ooh. If anything, he's like, should I hit it? I don't know.
No. There were so many different, like, statues and figures that were creepy or sad all throughout this movie.
Yeah. Also, he gets down there, and then while he's sitting down in the basement, he's listening back to more of the voice notes that Fiona had made. I think there's someone down here. And it's like, this is a very unfortunate place in her recordings to reach after you've gone down into the basement, and you can't go back up until the top of the hour or whatever when the clock hits again. So you're like, great.
I don't know that I would have gone to the basement. I think I would have been afraid that I would have been stuck in the same situation she was if his plan didn't work with the whole lining it up. I just would not have wanted to do that.
Yeah, he was desperate, and then again, just trying to find answers, trying to find clues, and he gets down there, and he does see the witch from there, just in time as she comes into view. Finally, the dumbwaiter moves and goes up, and then he gets back up to the top, and then the bell hits again, and it starts going back down, and he climbs out, but then I was like, oh no, is she going to hitch her? Is the witch going to hitch a ride up with the dumbwaiter? And I was like, no, she doesn't need to. She has Spidey powers, so it's all right.
Oh my gosh. She was climbing the wall. I'm like, man, to look down there like that, expecting the dumbwaiter, and what you see is the witch climbing up to you? No. And you can't get away. He tries to get away. I think that's when he fell in the gross tub.
Yeah.
It was disgusting.
He's like
ugh.
Locking off the door with the chair, and then she comes around the other side and like reaches through the window to unlock the door. But yeah, he did have chalk on him, and he remembers his conversation with Fiona, so he can turn that bed into a little witch-proof haven.
Yeah, Fiona showed him that book. She had that folklore book, and so he learned a few things. He paid attention, and that came into play.
Yeah. And then meanwhile in this day, Jerry does come back, finally makes it back after jumping out the back of the wagon, and unfortunately...
he's banged up.
Yeah. And unfortunately, as a lot of us viewers were, he believes Mal and trusts in Mal, where Mal is like, yeah, I came back this morning and Mr. Bauman was up in the honeymoon suite, and I found him passed out up there. So then he was too drunk to drive. That's why his car is here. So I was like, so I took him back to the airport, and so he's gone. And Jerry's just like, okay. Until again, there's that thing where he had talked to Fiona. He talks about there's something off, and the more that he talked to Mal after that, like the little things that he said, the things he's doing, is like you start questions like, wait, so you dropped him off the airport, then why did you come back here after that? And then what's with this? And then when Ohm realizes that Jerry's there, and then he's remembering the bell that got them up there, so he's trying to find that, and it's like that was very tense in a way to see, like you see Mal being like trying to get him out the door so he doesn't notice the bell, and
that whole thing. Yes.
Yeah, but persistence was the victor there. Ohm with the bell, and then Jerry knowing that something was off. It just finally had to line up right. But
put it out in the universe that something's wrong. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, and it's funny because like when the bell does go off with Jerry in there to see it, and then he's like, okay, you lied to me. Somebody's in that room. So Mal just spills everything, . It's like, well, yeah, but, Fiona wasn't a good person. You didn't even know, so I had to kill her, and then I was going to kill him. And it's like, well, you didn't have to just admit everything.
No, you didn't. He had the recording on the tape. He was the only one who knew what had happened. But I don't know that Mal even knew that he knew.
Yeah.
He knew he saw the body, but he didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Mal didn't know that Ohm had listened to a tape that confirmed that Mal had put her in there.
Yeah.
So he was still kind of in the clear at that point. Unfortunately, Mal decided to continue his reign of terror, and poor Jerry is shot with a crossbow.
Yep. R.I.P. Jerry. He almost got to Ohm, but then Mal went scorched earth, or hotel.
Yeah.
But Ohm did snag the keys first, and so after he did that, then Mal locked himself in too.
Yep, but he did. And Mal going down in the dumbwaiter. At first I wondered if Ohm was setting a trap for him to come down there and let the witch get him. Like, Ohm goes down in the dumbwaiter, leaves the keys hanging on that one of those chains, and then goes down and is putting himself in a circle, but the witch gets him.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like he was trying to get Mal down there so that the witch could drag him away instead.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't have been in a circle. I don't know. I was trying to figure out.
I don't know if he would thought that
is there more to this? Yeah. Or is it
I don't
just
think
Mal
he really,
wanting to do it?
I don't think he really thought that far ahead. My thought on like what his plan was just going down there with the keys, not knowing if Mal was going to follow him or not. If Mal doesn't follow him, I mean, he's just going to stay in the room and be locked in the room and die in the fire anyway later. Or, just be locked up there. Because I feel like Ohm had given up again. He was in this place because he was down there and he's like, whatever happens to me happens. I deserve it because of whatever happened to his mom. And so that kind of moment that he has, that reconciliation with his mom where she's like, you have to go. I forgive you. It's okay. Like, it was a beautiful moment, but like, she's like, you need to go. Because I don't think he had any.
Yeah.
He had any, plan to leave, but then with that, he then did. And it just kind of worked out that, with Mal coming down, and he was going to put himself in a circle. He didn't finish the circle in time before the witch got him. And because it seems like she shackled him up.
Yes.
But then before taking him, Mal came down. I was like, well, I'll take him first, then I'll come back for you. Which then, goes back to the creepy story that Mr. Cobb was telling those boys at the beginning about the witch chaining up her victims and then dragging them into the underworld. And so then with Mal, we're seeing all this play out. And you're like, oh, well, if Cobb's story is to be believed, he's in for some real bad stuff later after he goes through that door.
Yeah. Yep. Mal couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
Right.
He's dragged away. And that gives Ohm time to saw through his own chain.
Yeah, the blade that Fiona had used to cut his rope.
Mm-hmm. So he used that to free himself and was able to escape almost. He got stuck in the fire, but Fergal had come back in looking for Jerry and finds Ohm and drags him out.
Yeah. So it's 3 times in this movie that Fiona saved Ohm.
Mm-hmm.
Saved him by cutting him down after finding him in his room. Because he had the blade, he was able to escape and get out. And there's even that, he walks out and her eyes are still open, and then once he is free, they're shut. There's almost this peace. But then, when he passes out from smoke inhalation and Fergal's looking for him, what voice was it that led Fergal in the direction to find him? I believe that was Fiona's voice that was calling to him.
Yeah. For someone that he just met in this hotel and spent just a short time with, she had a huge impact on him.
Yeah. And I like that we get kind of the closure of in the hospital after his conversation with Albie, that he's finishing his book, and this whole experience does have him rewrite his ending. And I think for Fiona, he decides to make it a much happier ending.
Yeah. Agreed. Because it was not a happy ending before. It was so depressing. I couldn't believe it. It's like, man, right at the beginning, this is what you're giving us.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do I not know what movie I'm watching, but it's traumatizing. I don't need to see this. Please don't. I'm wondering what the director's going to do next, because I don't think that there's anything that's on his docket for next. Hokum is the most recent thing that he's done. I have not seen the other 2 movies, Caveat and Oddity. He's got a thing for the one-word title. Yeah. I'd never even heard of them. So it's something I'm going to have to check into. It might be something that we cover if they fit our
I think they do.
Genre. Yeah, one is an Irish horror film. There you go. Okay, so in the movie Oddity, Gwilym Lee is the lead. He is someone I'm quite familiar with from British TV. He played Brian May in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay,
but he was also in a show called Midsummer Murders that I've seen. And this one is a blind medium and a curio shopkeeper grieving the death of twin sister. And it has to do with a golem, which, yeah, that seems like it would be right up our alley. That's Oddity. And Caveat is a drifter suffering from partial memory loss who accepts the job to look after a psychologically disturbed woman in a house on a secluded island.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that those definitely fit our genre, and I'm interested in what Damian McCarthy does next. I think he's got an interesting point of view, and be fun to kind of chart his progress now that he's on our radar. I did like this moment of levity because I feel like Albie was part of the moments of humor in this movie.
Yeah.
When he's just confessed that he put mushrooms in Ohm's whiskey and tells him why. And I'm like, there's no defense because you were incredibly rude to him and you physically burned him.
Yep.
Do not tell me that you have a leg to stand on in this because you don't. He offers to bring his manuscript in if he needs something to pass the time. And Ohm says, haven't I been through enough, Albie? I'm like, oh, yeah, but you kind of owe it to him because you've been a brat.
Yeah. Which I like, then he just follows it up. He takes that kind of jab and looks at him and goes, so I'll bring it by in the morning then. And he's just like, okay. Yeah.
I love to. Albie goes to see him because he's like, you're away from home and I figured you hadn't had any visitors come in to see you. And he said, and Ohm says, I'm not sure I'd have anybody visiting me there either. It's like, no, you wouldn't, because you are not a nice, kind person. You are prickly and abrasive. I have a few of those people in my life. Just a few.
Maybe you should just drug their whiskey with mushrooms and see what
mushrooms.
Happens.
I don't think that will go over well. I thought it was clever that Fiona had his tape recorder and was able to record the messages that she did. I liked that because then we got more of her.
Yeah.
Because I liked her character a lot. What we saw of her, I liked. I really wanted more. We didn't get that. Adam Scott spent about 3 weeks filming by himself in a room. And he said it was emotionally demanding and important to capture the feeling and convey his character's isolation. And I wondered how that felt compared to doing Severance, which is a cerebral show that seems contained. Like, there's only 2 or 3 people at once, and also he's on his own a lot, too. So I wondered how that compared to that. I actually looked up Hokum because I want to know, like, what does the dictionary say? What is Hokum? And Merriam-Webster says it's defined as a device used to evoke a desired audience response. Or it's pretentious nonsense. And I'm like, okay. All right. Yeah. Last thing I have to say, Neon is crushing it as a distributor and production company. They brought some great films to light. Their most recent one, which is one I think we can cover, Leviticus, is doing really well at the box office.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
So, yeah. But they're also behind movies like Parasite, and I think they did Honora. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they're doing some great work.
Named 2 Oscar-winning movies. Like Oscar winners.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like someone has said to me over the last couple of years, well, what the hell is Neon? Because it seemed like it came out of nowhere. But it's actually been around for a while.
They also did Life of Chuck.
Yep. Their first movie, Colossal. Mm-hmm. Which we've covered on this podcast. Yes. I had never seen it. Well, Pake, if you don't have any more notes, I think we've done it.
Nope, that's it. I am tapped out. All out of goat milk.
All right.
It's all in. Well, the feedback phone is going off now, though, so perfect time. It's almost like it's been listening to us this whole time. Creepy. Anyway,
I think it has.
Answer that and see what we've got. All right, we do have some feedback this week. I'm excited to get into. Of course, first, before we get into this week's movie, we do have a little bit of feedback from Midsommar last week from our good friend Tony. Says, thank you, Pake and Daphne, for covering Midsommar. Not going to lie, I was a little nervous about listening. Thought it might be a bloodbath on one of my favorite movies, but you both gave a fair and honest conversation that I enjoyed. Hereditary is also a favorite of mine, so I'll be looking forward to hearing your conversation about that one too. Just a side note, these are the only 2 movies I like from Ari Aster. And then she goes on to say, I kind of like Northman, but it was so long, it lost me after a while. Well, good news for you. That is Robert Eggers, actually. Some people will get those confused, so that is not Aster. But I get it, because I also have confused the 2 of them before in random things. They have very similar aesthetics. Disturbing styles and aesthetics for sure. So, and Eggers is the same as Aster for me a little bit. Like, so I get that, because it also has the kind of like, it's very hit or miss for me. It depends. So I get that for sure. Anyway, she goes on to say, I have to mention one more fact on Midsommar is when Connie dies, you see Josh, Danny, and Mark hear her scream. Mark, you mentioned, but Danny in the kitchen making meat pies and Josh in the temple learning about their quote-unquote Bible, they also hear the scream. Like I said, layers. Beautiful movie. Thank you.
Oh, Tony. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you're looking forward to our conversation about Hereditary. I'm not really looking forward to rewatching that movie.
And I still haven't seen it the first time, so I'm excited to jump into it next season and see what happens.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't like it. Let's just say this. I didn't like Midsommar. I really didn't like Hereditary. Like, that was beyond Midsommar. So we'll see how that turns out. Well, moving on to feedback about Hokum, which is our movie this week. Tony also sent in feedback for this one. She says, I'm excited for this discussion. I've only seen it once, but enjoyed it immensely. The setting is incredible. Beautiful Ireland and an old creepy hotel. The murdering of goats was extremely disturbing. Not sure if I would have stayed there after seeing that. Me either. I loved the mushroom tripping goats. I loved Jerry the mushroom tripping old guy in the woods, played by David Wilmot. Bowman is played by Adam Scott, who can act in absolutely anything and everything, is brilliant. He is mean and sarcastic, but later he is vulnerable and emotional. He runs the gamut of emotions in this movie. My only complaint is that the witchy parts of the movie were not as intense as I thought they would be. The whole movie was less horror and more thriller, missing person murder mystery. Damian McCarthy has quickly become one of my favorite directors. Caveat and the wonderful Oddity I highly recommend. Oddity more so. I think we talked about that.
Right, good to know. Yeah, we talked about it earlier in the episode while covering the movie about maybe diving into those. So good to know from that. Thanks, Tony. So I think with that, it's probably a good chance that we'll jump into those, or at least Oddity for sure, in the nearish future. Yeah. Maybe next season along with Hereditary. Who knows?
I'm going to need Oddity after watching Hereditary. I'm probably just going to need a drink before watching Hereditary.
And then, of course, Catherine came through as well with this one. Always great to hear from her, or see from her, I guess. It's Facebook comments. But yeah, she says, it took me a few tries/days to get into Hokum, hence the late feedback. I'd get about halfway through before I realized I wasn't paying attention and I had no idea what was going on. Folk horror is one of my least favorite genres. I'm sorry, because we've kind of really been sticking into that a lot lately.
Yeah.
So, but don't worry, there's more on the outside of that to come. We're not staying there forever. She goes on to say, and I have a hard time seeing Adam Scott as anyone other than Ben Wyatt from Parks and Rec. I had the same struggle watching Severance.
Agreed. He's so good as Ben.
Yes. But once Ohm entered the honeymoon suite and found Fiona, I was finally invested. And wow, so many dark twists. I'm curious to hear your perception of the witch. I wonder if she was freed when the hotel burned. You know, honestly, I think when we covered the movie earlier, I don't think we thought about that or talked about that at all. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because I really didn't even think about it, I don't think. So now that you mention it, I'm like, you know what? That is a good point. That's like a good thing to kind of look into. I don't know. What do you think, Daphne? I hope so.
Yeah, I would like to think that she was freed when the hotel burned.
Yeah, because we don't really get any like backstory or like kind of lore on who and what and why on that. So who knows?
I like to think that because she got her sacrifice and the hotel burned, that she was freed to not be stuck there anymore.
Yeah.
Catherine, if you liked this one, or you got into this whole like mystery and part at the end about Fiona and all of that came after the beginning with all the folk stuff, you might like Widow's Bay if you're not watching it.
Mm-hmm. It's a great one.
Well, if you'd like to leave feedback like Tony or Catherine, and I should remind you that it doesn't matter where you are in your listening to our podcast. If you are on episode 55 or on episode 100 and want to send feedback on those movies, we'll read it on the current episodes where we are at now. We encourage it. Please take us up on the offer or the invitation. If you want to leave feedback, you can find us on the Podcastica Discord server. We have a channel there, Run For Your Lives. We are on Facebook and Instagram at Run For Your Lives Podcast. We also have email, runforyourlivespodcast@gmail.com. If you're enjoying the show, tell your friends. We're available on all the podcast players, including Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and more. As always, you can go to runforyourlivespodcast.com for all the links that you're ever going to need. And if you feel so inclined, give us a review on Apple Podcasts, as that is the best way to share the love and get us out there even more. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely, we do. And of course, speaking of sharing the love, we got to give those shout outs to the things going on in the Podcastica universe around us and beyond. A lot of great stuff for you to check out right now. Of course, the Walking Dead cast. A lot of rewatch stuff that they've been doing, but they're taking a little break on that to do the new Evil Dead Burn film. Rich, Chris, and Jason getting together to talk about that. And of course, there is still the Evil Dead cast feed available. If you were following that podcast back in the day when they were doing the TV show and some of the movies and stuff over there, that if you've got that feed or if you've got that show that in your feed, then you can go check out that episode there as well. But also cross-posted over on the Walking Dead cast. So check out some Evil Dead stuff there. Also, Dragon Cast going super strong right now with the new season of House of the Dragon, which has been phenomenal. Of course, this latest week's episode, Season 3, Episode 5, Unbowed and Unbent. Veronica, Wendy, and Archmaester Rennie doing an incredible job over there as well, covering those episodes. So you can go check that out on Dragon Cast. Our good friends Penny and Kara discussing Buffy over on Still Slaying. All of the Buffy universe stuff, which is Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel episodes. So you can check out their coverage. So they've got some Season 5, Episode 4 this week of Buffy that they're covering on Still Slaying. So go check that out. Also, What Is From, Lizzie and Lisa got the official kind of thing going. So they were doing, weekly regular podcast episodes again for the back part of this last season of Season 4. But the first few episodes, Lizzie was just doing kind of a solo thing on YouTube. So they're backtracking a little bit and doing a rewatch and conversation of those first 3 episodes in full, regular, usual podcast style. So you can go check that out on the What Is From podcast as well. So make sure to do that. Then outside of Podcastica, of course, our good friends over at Pirate Core Entertainment, the podcast network there. Always having a lot of fun stuff. The Vamp cast is running full speed right now with the Vampire Lestat, so you can check coverage of those episodes over there on the Vamp cast. And Adrenaline Cinema is doing some fun stuff as Mark has Robert on with him to discuss the Star Wars movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu, which was really fun. I went and saw that opening week when it came out back, and it was a fun time. So definitely make sure to check out that podcast with that. Then if you want more of me and Daphne, of course, you can check out our other podcast, the Buffalo Podcast with our friends Jeff and Jerry. We just get together, hang out, have fun, play some games, chat, catch up, be ridiculous as hell. It's always a fun time.
We do have such a great time. And we're dropping an episode next week that you guys will have heard already. But we decided to share with that audience a little bit of Run for Your Lives by releasing our episode that's a crossover kind of ish. Jeff and Jerry came and talked about They Live on Run for Your Lives. And so we're releasing it on that feed just so that our listeners over there can hear what it's like when we're not making jokes or... Well, no, I guess that's not right.
Yeah, because we still... That episode, for those who listened to earlier this season, still felt very much like a Buffalo episode in parts, because you can't put the 3 of us together, and we won't... It's not like we're not going to torment you, because that's not an option, so...
No, it always happens. So, let's just say, attempt to talk about a movie instead of playing a game. So there. It's different. It's okay.
And then, of course, after you go check out all of that great stuff, then next week, next Friday, Run for Your Lives will be right back with another new episode for you. So you can go ahead and get your watching in and even feedback in early if you want to, because next week, what are we doing, Daphne?
Well, when a parapsychologist returns to her childhood home in New Mexico to confront the malevolent entity that has haunted her family for decades, she also uncovers long-buried secrets from her past. Yes, we are continuing our dive into the Insidious franchise. It's been quite a while since we covered a movie from that franchise. But when I realized that it had been 3 years since we had seen The Red Door and we had not done anything more, I felt like we needed to continue down this road. So we are covering Insidious: The Last Key. It was released in 2018 and directed by Adam Robitel.
Yeah. So check that out. Back to the Insidious franchise with The Last Key, the 4th movie. So yeah, go check it out and give us your feedback and stuff for that for next week's episode. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. And with that, we've reached the end of another creepy episode of Run for Your Lives. Thanks everyone for listening. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And if you have to run, you better run for your lives.
Bye-bye.